Hi, I'm Larry Richardson, your step-by-step chef. In this edition, we're going to cook a delicious vegan dish. It is Indian curried cauliflower, and it is absolutely delicious and so easy to make. So come on, let's cook. So here are the ingredients for our Indian curried cauliflower. Now, first of all, you can see I have a massive head of cauliflower, and make sure you get it really fresh. You don't want it to have a lot of brown splotches on the surface because you're going to have to scrub those off, and it's kind of a sign that it's not as fresh as it should be. So try to find the freshest cauliflower possible. The next thing we're going to use is a 1/4 cup of light vegetable oil, a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of cumin, 2 tablespoons of a good quality yellow curry. So you want to make sure you get a good yellow curry. We're going to use 1 tablespoon of light brown sugar, and if you can get it, we're going to use some garam masala. That is an Indian spice that is absolutely delicious, and we'll use a teaspoon of that. It absolutely adds some spice to it, and it can add some heat to the dish too. So if you don't like your Indian food spicy hot, then skip the garam masala altogether. And I don't stress that in this dish. The other ingredients will make this absolutely perfect to your taste. So let me show you how to put this together. So the first thing I want to do is combine our dry ingredients. And while we're doing this, our oven is preheating at 350. So preheat your oven at 350 with the rack in the middle. So first is our tablespoon of brown sugar. There we go. It gives the dish a little bit of a kind of an Indian sweetness to it. Sometimes I find that the cauliflower doesn't necessarily become sweet as it's cooking, so this can add a nice flavor to it. And next we'll add our 2 tablespoons of yellow curry. There we go. I love the aroma of these different ingredients. Absolutely delicious. Indian food is just my favorite. And now we'll add our teaspoon. Here's our teaspoon. There we go. Our teaspoon of garam masala. And again, this is optional because it can be spicy. It can add some heat to it. But again, it's another aromatic spice that's absolutely delicious. Oops, someone over the side. Oh, that's okay. Let's give that a little stir. A teaspoon of salt. There we go. And a teaspoon of cumin. Another delicious spice. And you can change the ratio of any of these ingredients to your taste. And what I recommend is mix them up like this, and then just take a little bit out like this and give it that test. The old tip of the finger taste test. And if you think it needs to be sweeter, add a little bit more of the brown sugar. If you think it needs more curry, add that. Now's the time to do it. Get your mix just right. And if there's some ingredient that I'm not thinking of, throw that in too. And next up, we're going to trim the cauliflower. So we'll set this aside. Okay, for truth in advertising, I did do a little bit of a taste test of my own. I gave it the fingertip test. And actually, because more of the garam masala fell into mine, I'm adding another tablespoon of brown sugar. I like mine just a little bit sweeter, so I'm just going to mix that in. Now, that's a lesson about cooking. Cook it to your taste. Every one of my recipes, make sure that you make it to your taste. And there we go. So now we'll set it aside and we'll trim the cauliflower. And here's our cauliflower. And the first thing we want to do, well, certainly rinse it off. And if it has any of those brown splotches, just give it a light scrub and even trim those out if you have to. It's not uncommon, but I really like to find a fresh cauliflower because they tend to be sweeter. So I just got rid of that base. You can see I just cut that base right off. And then I'm just going to take these larger pieces and break them apart. Okay, so you can see the kind of trimming I'm doing. I'm not going to bore you and show you every single moment of the exciting trimming of the cauliflower, so you get the idea. So I did just cut these off the base. And then what I want to do is just trim these down into these smaller slices. And they're about a ½ inch thick. And these will lay very nicely down in our pan, in our baking pan. So I'm just going to keep putting these little slices right into this bowl, and we will end up mixing everything in this bowl, and we'll just keep doing this until we're all the way through this cauliflower. And the cauliflower is really funny because this is another thing where I can actually smell the freshness. It just has a real bright, zesty aroma, a rich cauliflower aroma. So we'll just keep cutting like this until we're done. So I'll be back in a moment. So here's our cauliflower all trimmed up. And I'm just going to stir in our 1/4 cup of vegetable oil. This just helps with the roasting process, and helps it to brown too. I guess you could leave the oil out if you want. It might stick to your pan a little bit more, but that's totally up to you. But I just find that this helps with the consistency of the dish. Okay, so that's nice and mixed up. And now what I do is I just line a baking pan with foil, and I just pour that in there. And let's spread it out some. And again, the oven is preheating at 350. In fact, it's all preheated now. And then we'll just spoon our spice mix right on top of the sprinkle it on. And the reason I didn't do this in that red bowl with the cauliflower and the oil is that I find that most of the spices stick to the bowl. It just seems like a waste. So I like to just sprinkle this on nice and uniform across the cauliflower. And at one point, halfway through the cooking time, about 20 minutes in, we'll flip the cauliflower over and these spices will distribute just fine. This is a tasty dish. I think you're going to like it. And again, make it to your taste. If you want a little bit less spices, certainly go that route. I just love the Indian spices, and I love the way the cauliflower cooks down with them. It's such an easy dish to make. There we go. And now all I do is put this in the oven again in the middle rack, and the oven's at 350. The cooking time can be anywhere from 40 minutes to an hour, depending on the freshness of the cauliflower. So I am going to assume that this is a 40-minute one because the cauliflower is very fresh, but I think we'll see. So this is going in the oven for 20 minutes, and I'll see you shortly. So after 20 minutes, you can see our cauliflower is roasting quite nicely, and all I want to do is just flip it. Just give it a nice general flip. And this is going to mix in more of those spices with the bottom of the cauliflower that might not have gotten any on it. And then what we'll do is we'll just give them a nice flip, and we're going to put it in for 15 to 20 minutes more. Again, it depends on the cauliflower. You might need a little bit more time, but 20 minutes in, give it a flip, mix in those spices a little bit more. Wow, does it smell delicious. And we'll give this a good roast. You are really going to enjoy this dish. And you don't have to be absolutely meticulous when you're doing this. The cauliflower is cooking fine right through. And let's just take a look. Everything's looking good. And I'm going to put it in. I'm going to check it after 15 minutes. It just might be done then. Otherwise, I think around 20, because this cauliflower was extremely fresh. So I think 20 will do. I'm drooling. I'm so hungry for this, I'm already drooling. So I'm going to put it back in the oven, and I'll see you in 15 minutes. So 15 minutes later, fresh out of the oven, look at what we have. That is steaming. I can see that it's starting to get nice and roasty. This is done. This is the way I like it. You don't need to have it like super browned, but you do need to have it cooked through. You don't want this to be a crispy dish. So that's exactly what we're looking for. And I have to tell you, my whole place has this rich Indian aroma. So congratulations, look at what you just made. You just made this delicious Indian curried cauliflower. Now, as with all of my recipes, which you will find on stepbystepchef.com, over 100 recipes, you can make this any way you want. You can adjust everything that I added to it and make it to your taste. Honestly, if we'd added just a little bit more brown sugar to this, you could have served it as a dessert. Okay, maybe not to kids, but to adults, I think they would appreciate this as a dessert, even just a little bit chilled. It's that good. Now, if you want the free printable version of this recipe, go to my website, stepbystepchef.com. And if you want printable versions of most of my recipes, take a look at the book on the site. This has over 100 recipes that I put together over the years, and they all come with the free videos too that you'll find on stepbystepchef.com. So this is all in one package. You don't have to print the recipes if you don't want to. And it also makes a great gift for beginner cooks who need to learn how to cook as if they're standing next to somebody. That's me. Or for experienced cooks who want to try something a little bit different. So again, my name's Larry Richardson. I am your step-by-step chef, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode.